Hi everyone. We in the past had just talked about radiation inversions and the fact that they happen on clear and cold winter nights, especially windless nights that do not have a lot of mixing in the atmosphere to mix up the warm parcels with the cooler air. On those nights when radiation inversions happen, you tend to notice cold air right at the surface and then the temperature rising above the surface. There is a term for this in agriculture, a very well-known and important term called the thermal belt. It's frequently known in valleys, and it is the reason why vineyards are grown on the hillsides in valleys rather than on the flat land or in the flat part of the valley. This area along the hillsides is part of the thermal belt that actually stays warmer on very cool nights. The thermal belt is generally from about 80 meters to about 280 meters or so. So you're talking about 250 feet up to about 700 feet up on these mountainous hillsides. And this area can stay above freezing when other areas in the valley are below freezing. So this is one example where radiation inversions are very important to agriculture, and they're used in a very specific way. You should know that those clear nights are really the time when radiation inversions are known to occur, because all the emissions start rising and rising with their parcels, and they rise really well into the evening sky and warm the evening sky up at about 250 feet to about 700 feet while the ground stays very cold. On the other hand, on cloudy nights are warmer. And cloudy nights are warmer because the emissions will come up and then they will be reflected back down to the earth, warming the surface. So it's the cloudy nights that stay warm and that protect the agricultural plants, and the clear nights that are the real hazard for them. Crop damage occurs, like I said, on these nights, and there are several methods to protect the crops. If you're out in California like I was over winter break, you see these all over, and you see the covers that go over the ground crops, especially the strawberries. I saw it in January, ground covers being put over the strawberries. The reason they do this is because the strawberries will emit, like everything else, 24/7, and as the strawberries emit overnight, they emit heat overnight. That heat can be trapped against the ground by these covers. When you need more intense protection, some places still use orchard heaters, but most places have gotten away from it because of the pollution issue and the cost of all of the oil and the kerosene to light these heaters. So these are really out of favor now. Instead, what you see all over California and all over the orchards, you see wind machines. And these wind machines act as a source of wind to mix up the atmosphere and to mix up the cold ground air with the warmer air above, and keep that the orchard at a more moderate temperature overnight. These are everywhere in Central California. And irrigation is something that you see in Florida overnight. And if you think about it, they are using the latent heat of fusion. They're using the hand warmer heat. So if they keep the sprinklers on all night on a very cold night, as the water freezes around the fruit, what will it do? It will release heat to the environment, and the heat for the environment goes around the tree and protects the tree and protects the fruit as well. So that irrigation, you might say, look at the icicles. The icicles are actually protecting the entire crop by releasing latent heat. And that's something that you have learned just in the past few weeks. So very important to agriculture. I went over all of these. I went over all of that, and we're done. See you on the other side.